Question of the day is, how do you find your most profitable niche and then dominate it? Well, I'm going to give you a little clue and insight. The answer is not in one of those documents that people put out there with like, here are 50 niches for you to choose from. If that's what you're basing your niche on, then you're going to love today's episode because we're going to bust that completely apart and tell you exactly how to find your most profitable niche where you can dominate it, stand up with authority, and obviously stand out, stop being invisible, be able to attract the clients that you most want to connect with. Stay tuned, it's coming right up.
Hi, I'm your host, Jessica Osborne, and over the last 25 years in marketing and business, I've helped many brands to launch, scale, and grow, with some of them becoming multi-billion-dollar companies. I'm here to inspire you to get out of your own way and create a profitable, fulfilling business while living the lifestyle you really desire, without all the hustle. So I bring you She's the Business podcast, a unique blend of strategies, tactics, mindset, health, and spirituality, literally everything you need to be the successful leader of your dream business. Made by women for women, this is your weekly dose of motivation and inspiration. So are you operating in your most profitable niche? The thing is that most businesses fail in their first 5 years. I'm sure that you've heard this before. And why do they fail? Well, of course, you know the answer already, because they're not profitable, as in they have not found the key to making the profit and having the time balance. So they're either putting in far too much effort for very, very little return, or they're even just struggling to attract paying clients in the first place, to sell them any kind of paid offer, and to have that income coming in. So they give up. Well, what is the reason? What actually is the thing that they weren't able to do? And if you break it all apart and really take away all the surface level things of, maybe stuff that could be improved, like everything can be improved in any business, right? But when we get down to the core of it, they were trying to operate in a niche that was not leveraging the value that they can actually bring, which means that they weren't able to find the profits. So what is the secret to finding your profitable niche and dominating it? Well, that's what we're talking about today. Before I get into exactly how you find your profitable niche, let's talk about a few questions you may already have. I'm sure that you've heard people talk a lot about you need to find your niche. Your niche is important, right? It is actually the first ingredient in your marketing strategy, and it is what everything else is built on. Like, you can't create an offer if you don't know what niche you're in. Who is your client? What is it that you're doing for them? Like, it's impossible to create even an offer to sell, let alone market it, let alone sell it, if you don't know your market positioning. So it is the first crucial, most critical step to your strategy. But a lot of people get really hung up on this, and they say things like, well, do I really need to niche all that much? Can't I just kind of serve all small businesses or all entrepreneurs or all women? Because, what I do, it could help lots of people. And, you as the expert can see so clearly how you can help many people. And of course, you might tailor your approach, you might tailor your responses, your advice for those different people, but you probably have the expertise, the knowledge, and the skills to help a very broad range of people with quite a lot of different things, right? Same as a lot of people. So you have that question like, well, do I really need to niche? Thing is that you are not an employee that's being hired for a broad range of skills anymore. You're trying to run a successful business. And if you're like me, you want to run a business in a short amount of hours so that you've got lots of time to spend with the kids, the family, at home, maybe even going to the gym and having time for yourself and doing things that you enjoy in your day. And you don't want to be running a great big team, because as well as I do, when you have a lot of team members, a lot of staff, although they're doing a lot of work, you're now managing all the people. So it kind of is just shifting your time into management, which still doesn't give you the time that you want to be spending outside of work. So Do you really need to niche? No, you don't have to. This is your choice how you want to run your business. But if you want it to be lean and streamlined and much more easy to attract high paying clients, then yes, you absolutely do need to. And here's the thing, the landscape's changed even in the last 5 years. Since before COVID, it has changed enormously. There's been a lot of new players in the market, being that a lot of people are realizing, hey, we've got the internet. I've got internet at home. I can start an online business. I can run it from home. It all sounds amazing. So there are lots of people now doing this, which means that, yeah, the market is crowded. If we just want to be really generalized and broad about that statement, it's crowded. There's a lot of people in every niche, which means that, you need to stand out in order to be seen, in order to be found, in order for people to find you and sign up with you. You need to stand out. You need to stand out as the one that they want to work with. And that means differentiating. Like, how else can you stand out? If you're just one of a uniform bunch of people that all look same, but different, like obviously you've got a different face from other people, but if you look and feel the same, as in what you say, what you're offering, blah, 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 those details, if they are the same as what a lot of other people are saying about themselves, then you all become like wallpaper. You're just like, that's the status quo. There's a lot of people out there. So guess what your potential clients start to do to try to differentiate you? Well, you probably guessed it. They just look at price. And that is a race no business owner should ever want to be in. You do not want to be in a race to be bought based on price, because the only winner is ever the client. It's a race to the bottom, a race to the absolute bottom of the market. And it happens. It happens in saturated markets. It happens when people are not differentiating, when they're just being one of the people who are the same as a whole bunch of other people out there all doing the same thing. And, it does take something different in order for you to stand out. Now, you want to stand out because when you do, it's authority that you're trying to communicate. Authority brings trust, and that is what people use when they're deciding who is it that I'm going to hire? Who is it that I want to work with as my coach, as my advisor, as my service provider? They are basing their decision off, who do I trust the most? Who's actually going to deliver what they say they're going to deliver? Who do I like the feeling of? Who am I confident in? So they want to feel confident. And guess what? That confidence is in a huge part given to them by you, by how confident you are. So you can already start to imagine, when you think about that, the person who's demonstrating the most confidence, but they're also backing it up with authority, credibility. They clearly know their stuff. They're talking about something that they have skills in, and they're showing that they really understand it. Well, they are going to stand out a mile apart from all of the others who are just saying the same old thing or maybe the same new thing, but they're all chanting the same tune, right? So we're looking for you to stand out, to have authority, so that people trust you, so that they see your confidence and they have confidence in you. Now, you can only have confidence when you're talking about something that you know intimately. It's not just like, well, I know this because I learned it from someone. It is like, you know it because you have mastered it, because you have done it over and over and over again. You've lived it, you've breathed it, you've made the mistakes, you've learned the lessons. You know what you're talking about. You've been in their shoes before. If you haven't been in their shoes, then you've worked with enough people in the exact same shoes and got them results that you are so confident to stand on your hill and put your flag in it and say, this is what I believe in and stand for, and I know it works. Now, if you're not at that point, that is a sign that you actually haven't got clear enough on your expertise, as in you're still in a general broad niche, and you can go a lot deeper. Now, the deeper that you go, obviously, the more specialized you are, the more specific you are,
And therefore, the more clearly you stand out, and probably the more confident you feel, because you're like, right, I know for absolute fact this is what my absolute zone of genius is, and I can speak on it until the cows come home, because you know it that intimately, it rolls off your tongue. You have that confidence, right? So think about this. If we use an analogy of going fishing, because I think it's an easy one, we can all imagine fishing. What most of us do is think, and this is what your logical brain will be telling you right now, because maybe this is triggering a whole lot of fear. You're like, oh, I know that I'm kind of a bit broad, but I can't narrow it down anymore, because if I do, I'll miss out on opportunity. Now, it's like when you go fishing and you will logically think, well, if I go and fish in a bigger pond or lake or ocean, like the ocean has more fish than a lake has. You know, a lake has more fish than a pond has. So you will logically think, well, the larger the area that I'm fishing in, the more fish there are to catch. Except if you know anything about fishing, you know that fish don't just jump on a hook because a hook was put down. You have to have the right sort of bait or lure. And it's specific to the type of fish that you're trying to catch. So even though there might be tons of fish out there, if you're not using the correct bait, they are not biting at all. You'll be pulling up zero fish on your hook because you've just thrown something out there that's sort of like generic bait. Oh, they said use bread. Well, guess what? Some fish might like bread, and there's many that don't. Okay. And it's the exact same thing with your marketing. If you haven't got specific enough, then you aren't actually fishing for the fish. You're not throwing out the bait that they want to bite, that is going to reel them in. They're going to be jumping on your hook. You know, it just won't happen because you haven't got the bait. You don't really know who it is you're fishing for when you're not specific enough. So I hope that that's made sense. What we need to do in 2025, as I said before, the market has got competitive. It is, you know, there's a lot of players. You might think it's saturated. Yes, absolutely. And there's a lot of people struggling. You know, there's people out there that are desperate. But having said that, there are a lot of people who are ready to buy. And they're buying from people, as I said before, that they have confidence in, that they think, this is the exact right fit for me. And they can choose to be picky because there is a lot of choice. You know, you're not going to choose somebody who's like, well, I think they're sort of the right fit for me, but I'm not sure. Or they work with a whole lot of businesses. Some of them aren't anything like mine. You're going to have a lot less trust in that person than someone who works with the exact type of business that you are and on the exact thing that you most need help with right now. Doesn't matter about all the other stuff that they might know and do. You're only concerned with the current problem at hand, right? So that's how people are buying, yet that's how most businesses are not marketing themselves. They're kind of trying to market the whole smorgasbord, like, you know, oh, we have fish and we have steak and chicken and all the vegan dishes and a bit of everything for everybody. And that's why everyone's going, I don't know. Well, I only want one bit of that. I don't want all the other stuff. I'm not sure if this person's the right person for me. So how do you go deeper? How do you go beyond the niche that you're already in and become a standout and an authority and not just one of the crowd? Well, it takes going deeper. In business term, I call it finding your expert zone. So this is the zone within your niche where you have authority, where you have the expertise that is of high value, that you can stand up, you can speak on, and you will be magnetic because of it. It's your expert zone. Part of it is not just what you do, because of course, what you do, the reason why you're good at it is because of who you're working with as well, right? The two things cannot be disconnected. They are married together. So what you do, who you do it for, and it's really your specific, special way of doing it that makes it unique. So it's finding your expert zone. There is a unique formula that I've put together that I've used with the clients over the last almost 8 years that I've been in this space. And it helps actually pinpoint this in so that you get a unique differentiation. It is not, oh, I've just got a niche. I'm in a niche that, you know, hundreds and thousands of other people are also saying they're in. This is your specific place and something people can remember you for. They can go, oh, I know you, or I know someone who does that for that exact type of company. And they're going to think, boom, here you are, right? Because you've been specific enough. Now, if you don't go to this level, what happens if you kind of stay broad? And trust me, you will resist the process. You'll resist it strongly. You're probably already feeling resistant right now, just listening to me, thinking, well, I don't think I do need to narrow in. And some of the things that I've had past clients say to me when they've been really battling with the internal battle of wanting to get specific but not wanting to leave anyone out. They say, oh, but I work so well with so many different types of people, and I really love the variety. And all of these are just signs that your subconscious doesn't want you to get more specific because it's afraid of making things clearer. Like, what if I make the wrong decision? What if I narrow into this particular area, but it's something else that's more profitable or has more people in? And let me just say that with the hundreds of people that I've seen go through this process, and the ones who absolutely succeed at it, they are the ones who do take that scary step to leave some things out of their positioning. Not saying they can't do them. Like, you can always offer someone something, a service, once they're a client. You can add in whatever you like. But we're talking here about your market positioning, what you are putting out to the world that's going to draw in your people. And those that do it really well, they find there's actually far more people in this really specific, specialized zone than what they could ever hope to serve. Even if they wanted to have a course or a group program that had, thousands and thousands of people in it, it's still, there's far more people who are prospective clients than what they would ever need. And the beautiful thing is, they suddenly have so much clarity. They know exactly what it is they need to say, who they're talking to, and guess what? That messaging lands. So if you don't go to that level, what happens? Well, it's kind of the opposite. Your messaging falls flat, as in it makes no connection. It's almost impossible to connect with someone in what they say now. We've got like 1 second. People are going to open your email and try reading it for 1 second, or they're scrolling in the feed. You've probably got less than a second to catch their attention. They're not hanging around unless they're thinking, this is made for me. This is relevant to me. So if they're not sure that it's relevant, then, it's just a bit like plain vanilla, or maybe it's ice cream that's like watery vanilla, because vanilla can be yum if it's good, tasty, if it's strong, vanilla bean. But this is like, that really cheap, watery vanilla ice cream where you're like, oh, it just doesn't even really taste of anything. Well, we don't want that, right? You want to be having a strong, unique flavor and it's one that, is aligned to the person you're speaking to. And they're like, boom, this person is speaking to me. They feel seen, they feel heard, they feel like, I want to read more, I want to know more, I like what this person's saying. They are in my space. Your ideal client is literally out there looking for you right now. The person who needs and wants what it is that you help them do, they're looking for it. And maybe they're struggling to find the right person. Maybe no one else is actually being specific enough either. So you might look around and say, well, nobody else is doing this. Nobody is being more specific. Well, great, because if you're the first one, you are going to stand out a mile. You are going to be by far the easiest for them to recognize, right? So it's a good thing if no one else is doing it. Zig when everyone else is zagging. If they're all being sheep and they're all being broad in general, that doesn't necessarily mean that's the best strategy. Like, think about how different it can be for you if you decide, I'm going to back myself. I know what it is that I do, and I'm going to stand here. Now, I mentioned a moment ago, what if you choose the wrong thing? Well, is there ever such a thing as a wrong choice? In my experience and what I've seen, and what you would notice as well, is in every single specialization and every niche and sub-niche of the niches, so expert zones, there are the people who are specialized, highly specialized, are the highest earners. And there are buyers in every single part of that. So it's not whether a niche is more profitable than another. It's like, have you got specific enough to actually reach the profits in that niche? Because if you're not being specific enough, and often there's layers that you need to still peel back, even when you think you've got specific, you can go deeper. So if you're not profitable, it's probably because you're still at the outer layers. You haven't even got anywhere close to the specificity that's required to find the profits. That's where the hidden profits are, is actually in the center of your niche, where you can find your expert zone. And if you're still rebelling internally about this idea and thinking, well, I don't know, I hear you on all these things, but there's a part of me that just still doesn't feel right. That's normal. That's your fear of doing something different, of, stepping out of maybe being visible. Because while you continue to stay broad, you will continue to be invisible. So if you're tired of being the hidden gem that no one knows about, and you want to be seen as a go-to person, someone who people are like, I want to go and work with that person, and they know of you and they seek you out, well, then it's time to get specific. It's time to put the big girl pants on and think, yeah, I'm ready. I have the expertise, I've got the skills, and I'm ready to do this. So in my next solo episode, I'm going to go a little bit deeper into this on the area of how do you know what is your ideal client? And I'm going to share with you sort of my steps and my framework, what the ingredients are that are required to really profiling your ideal client, because this is actually a super essential part of your expert zone. It's not just about what you do, it is who you do it for as well, which positions you uniquely in the market. So, I'm talking marketing jargon there with positioning and positioning in the market. It means, what are you saying? What are you staking out as your ground? Imagine back in the days of the gold mining fields, where they would find a little piece of gold, a nugget, and then they would stake their claim around it. And, that's kind of what you're doing, obviously subliminally, but you're doing that in your market when you are stating your expert zone. You're saying, this is my space. I live in it, I claim it, and I'm being it. And that's what we're looking for, so that you can have a really, really strong magnetic pull for the right clients. So I can't wait to share more about that with you next episode. Look out for my next solo one, and we will dive into the wonderful world of your ideal client profiling, what you really need to know about them, which is not in most customer avatar profiles. Speak to you then. Bye. Now, before you head off, I've got something really exciting to share with you. Now, every year I host a live workshop inside my Business Jam program. That is a specific workshop on finding your niche and your ideal client. It is the Expert Zone Express workshop. We literally get it done in about 2 hours, because I do quite a lot of coaching and feedback during the session. You come in, join me live, go through the steps to identify where is your expert zone in your market niche, so that you can stand out with authority and attract the right clients. And it's happening again in February. So this month, it's coming up on Wednesday, the 26th, that is in Australian time. And I've decided this year I'm actually going to open it up with a live invitation for other people to come and join us. So it doesn't matter if you're not currently a client. If you would like to come and join me for the Expert Zone Express workshop and finally nail your niche, like really nail it, get that expert zone defined, know exactly who you're speaking to, then this is the workshop for you. So to get all the details and to register and grab your seat, head to jessicaosborne.com/workshop. I will hook that up in the show notes for you, so you can scroll down, click on the link, go through and jump in and get a seat now. I don't know how many I'm going to make available, so if you see them, they're still available, it means that there is still space for you. But please don't hang around because I'm not going to have it open-ended. I do have a limit on the number of people that can attend. I will be watching registration, so it's just open for first and best dressed. I would love to have you there, and we can kick off your year with really great clarity, confidence, so that you can show up with that confidence and really be the authority, the go-to person in your niche. So once again, head to jessicaosborne.com/workshop and you'll find all the details and how to get your seat and register. Talk to you then. Bye.